You don't walk into that room. You scan it. Before you say hi, your eyes have already caught the fake smile, the lowered voice, the hand gripping a cup a little too tightly, the phone turned face down like it's hiding something. Everyone else just sees a party. Your body sees clues. From the outside, that can look quiet, maybe shy, maybe cold. But that may not be distance. It may be an old survival system doing what humans learned to do long before rooms had music, drinks, and small talk. Read the face. Read the silence. Find the danger before it finds you.
At a party, the loudest person looks busy. Easy to spot. They laugh, they move, they perform for the room, out loud. But the quiet person by the wall can look like they are doing nothing, just standing there, holding a drink, watching too much. That is where people get it wrong. Quietness can be active. Inside, they may be tracking the tone of a conversation, the timing of a laugh, the face that changes when someone else walks in, the two people who keep glancing at each other, and the corner of the room where the tension seems to collect. From the outside, this gets labeled as shyness, sometimes arrogance, sometimes hard to read, which usually means you are not giving me enough performance to understand you. But inside, silence may be doing a job. Psychology has a simple name for part of this: social threat detection. It means the brain watches faces, voices, and small social cues for signs of safety, rejection, anger, or exclusion before there is a full explanation. The brain does not always wait for a story. Sometimes it starts with one question: safe or not safe?
A quiet person can experience a room like weather. Everyone else sees people. They feel pressure changes. That matters because quiet is not always absence. Sometimes quiet is attention without announcement. And most social spaces make this harder because they reward fast participation. Smile fast, answer fast, join fast, blend in before anyone starts wondering why you are standing there. So when you pause before speaking, people may think you are judging the room. Maybe you are not. Maybe you are trying to understand where it is safe to stand. Silence becomes a scanning system. Now, that does not mean every signal is correct. A fake smile can just be politeness. A quiet voice can just mean someone is tired. A tense hand can mean nothing. But the pattern is real. Some quiet people do not enter social spaces casually. They read the room first, because the room feels like information. The next layer is what your body starts treating as important. Not the obvious things, the tiny things. Someone says, "No, I'm good," but their jaw barely moves. Someone laughs, but their eyes stay flat. The conversation keeps going, but the room gets colder in a way nobody wants to name. Most people call that overthinking. Sometimes it is, but sometimes the brain is not trying to create drama. It is trying to predict what happens next. This is where the amygdala matters. It is one of the brain systems involved in detecting threat, especially through faces. In plain English, your brain does not always wait for the full sentence before it reacts to the expression. A face can become information first. A voice can become information first. A silence can become information first. That is why a quiet person may notice the expression before the explanation. The body does not ask, "Do I have enough proof?" first. It asks the older question: safe or not safe? Over time, repeated rooms can teach a rule. If tension used to arrive through a certain tone, a sudden silence, or a face that changed too quickly, those details stop feeling small. They become signals, like a smoke alarm that learned to go off before anyone smells fire. By adulthood, this can look like personality. The early reader notices tension before anyone admits it. The social scanner checks where they fit before joining. The exhausted observer leaves tired, not because they hate people, but because their attention was working the whole time. The body can notice before the mind can explain. And modern social life makes this sharper because people expect instant social proof. In a group chat, silence becomes a message. At a party, a quick smile gets treated like comfort. In a meeting, the person who answers first often looks more confident than the person who actually read the room. So the quiet person is not always behind. Sometimes they are processing the part of the room everyone else skipped. And that is useful, but it's not free. The cost is that the room never gets to be just a room. A quiet person can sit at a table while everyone else is laughing, eating, passing plates, checking their phones, acting normal. But inside, part of them is still working. They hear the laugh and notice the delay. They see the smile and catch the effort behind it. They feel the mood shift before anyone is willing to say, something changed. Everyone else sees people talking. They feel the weather moving. And yes, that kind of awareness can help. It can keep you from trusting too fast, speaking too soon, or ignoring a signal that actually matters. But hyper-awareness is expensive. Because after a while, the same scanning that protected you starts stealing the simple part of being around people. The part where a smile can just be a smile. A pause can just be a pause. A room does not have to turn into a puzzle. That is the part people romanticize too much. They call it intuition. They call it a gift. Fine. But a gift does not usually leave you exhausted after a normal conversation. So the reframe is not, quiet people notice everything because they are better. No. Some quiet people learn to check for safety before they allow themselves to belong. Awareness is useful, but noticing danger is not the same as feeling safe. The goal is not to stop reading the room. The goal is to know when the room actually needs your attention and when your body is allowed to stand down. And the next question is even quieter. Why do some people feel safe only after they leave the room?